Hello, everybody. This is Love from Above by your sibling spirit guides. I'm Maureen, and this is my brother.
Hey, Maureen. Hey, everyone. This is Brian.
Hello, Brian. We're so happy to be here. If you can believe it, on this podcast, we share daily channelings we receive from star beings, ascended masters, mythical beings who really exist, and occasionally our ancestors. And today's topic is Saint Germain Unveiled. The Greek gods still live, woodland guardians, and water sprites. Brian, am I reading one of my childhood fairy tale stories?
I know it sounds like it, doesn't it? But you know what else is interesting? I think we've read this that like all these fables and things that are, you read as a child that aren't true, really a lot of them are true. So,
Oh, in my experience, everything's true. And I
yeah,
remember the moment that I realized that because I had run into fairies, I had run into elves, and I can remember this moment vividly. Anytime you have like awakening like that, you can picture it. And I was laying in a bedroom in a house in Ireland, and I had communication with giants. And I'm like, oh my God. If giants are real, it's 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 all true. So yeah. And this one is a fascinating one. The Greek gods still live. They're still on the planet. The history of Saint Germain. And yeah, we hear from woodland guardians and water sprites. Who would think? Brian, you want to kick us off?
absolutely. So from June 4th to 2024, the Watchers discuss Saint Germain. So for now, we turn to another historical subject, and this is the greater trove of wisdom hidden from mankind with regard to the truth of the hero Saint Germain. Saint Germain's early origins are rarely discussed. They are hidden from view. He began his embodiment as a female slave in a long ago region of your planet that no longer exists. To say that his circular life patterns began in the abyss would be the greatest understatement. However, as you now know, these abysmal conditions are ripe with opportunities to frequently rise above the conditions from which you're brought into. Saint Germain alternated life patterns between male and female. In this way, the saint equally balanced between the masculine and the feminine and touches the hearts of all those that he encounters. His present embodiment began in Eastern Europe, where I came upon him as a lowly prince of a backwater realm. The coincidence which married him to his present path began in the age of alchemy, where students endeavored to break through the illusory earthly plane. This was a time of dragons, fairies, and true knights of the realm. We will say no more as the bodily frame defeats itself in this exercise. That we thank you for your dutiful notification, for loving words, the sibling pair. Interesting. So let me just go back up. So it's the Watchers is they first encountered him back in Eastern Europe as a lowly prince of a backwater realm. In, interesting. So, and that he's was a female slave. So a lot of things I didn't know about Saint Germain. I am reading, still reading one of the books about Saint Germain, and I really think it's amazing. I'll pull it up in a second. But what are your thoughts on this one, Maureen?
Yeah, I just want to cover Saint Germain for those of our listeners who may not be like, oh, who is Saint Germain? So Saint Germain is someone who is an ascended master and has worked with humanity for, hundreds of years. And he is famously recorded as being in the court of the French court. He was trying to prevent he was trying to prevent the revolution. He worked with Napoleon. He was famous because he had all these diamonds, because diamonds have like a really high property with energy. And apparently he used to wear, there would be diamonds on every every finger, and then he, as quickly as it came upon the European courts, the French court, he disappeared. So, and Brian, I think the book you're reading is The Unveiled Mysteries,
That's correct.
but there's like 32 or 33. I would bet 33 because that's a master number. Books from a couple who channeled from him around the 1920s, 1930s, which those are fascinating. So, yeah, so I mean, this is someone I have long admired, and it is interesting to see. I think it gives hope to all of us because, he began in the lowest of the low, as a slave, you know what I mean? And obviously has ascended to be in a beautiful place to help us all. What's the biggest message for you, brother?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know any of this part of his background, and of course, like we've all had multiple lives and had all sorts of challenges. But yeah, I think it's interesting how he alternated life patterns between male and female to be balanced. And, he's come through in a lot of our, not a lot, but we've definitely heard from him too. And so, on a bunch of different channelings. So great to get some more background on him. And again, I'm like you, I'm always very appreciative of Saint Germain. And yeah, those are those 33 books. I think they're the I am discourses, right? So those,
Right, right, right. And
yeah,
the first two are really, mind-blowing. And after that, in my opinion, they start to get repetitive with the same information. I think I read like 13 of them or 17 of them. But yeah, they are really mind-shifting books. But I'll go into the next one, which is Awakening on the Earth and Greek Gods Still Live. Surprise, surprise. July 18th, 2024. Dearest one, we are always present. We come forth to secure bonds of love between all at this important juncture of time. Humans fail to recognize the magnitude of the moment before them. However, there are many shifting tectonic plates that move energetically through the universe at this important juncture of time. We speak, of course, of the momentous shift that occurs in this section of the galaxy. It is an awakening, a spring after a long and hard winter. We delight in humans who recognize the importance of the moment before them, for nothing exists beyond this precious moment of time. We reintroduce you to the Brotherhood of Ashuria. They come forth now with additional messages of love, light, joy, and peace. Hello, dearest brother and sister. We are pleased to utilize this vessel on another opportunistic event. We come forth now. Thank you, Maureen, for surrendering your physical frame so that we may access those who listen to these messages on a regular basis. Now we return to a subject that is yet to be addressed, and that is the myths of the Greek gods. Who are these gods? Did they exist? Are they in line with other pantheons who coexisted at similar times among your planetary's people? Indeed, these beings were actual immortals who still reside within the planet's surface. Their glory days have been augmented in stories that have been retold again and again. We caution humans from calling upon these ancient gods, for as the stories depict, they often cause more chaos, trouble, than delight. They have evolved and are not the same beings as relegated to the stories of old. However, their stories should be heeded as cautionary myths of what can happen when one relies on the help of a being other than the one creator. Utilizing the help through multiple beings who come forth in these sessions through your podcast are indeed beneficial. However, the ultimate source of all is indeed the one creator, and nothing can suffice for switching for the true magnitude of the one creator's all-encompassing presence. This is an important message to relay. That is all, dearest one. Yeah, that is an important reminder. I mean, we're always encouraged to call on the watchers and the fairies and all these beings to help. But really, there's only one source, and that is the Almighty, right? And that's an important message not to forget. And it is interesting that these Greek gods are still alive and they're inside the earth.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting though. It's like not only that they exist, but they're the cautionary tale here about that they can, if you call on them, they can cause more chaos and trouble than delight. So it's fascinating, but I just yeah, again, it's hard to fathom, and I'm trying to process it, but it's interesting. So yeah, I'll stay away from calling on those gods for sure. I don't need any of that in my life, any more chaos. But
Yeah.
you know a lot more about the Greek gods than I haven't read that much about them.
Oh yeah. No, I've studied a lot of about the Greek gods and I know the whole pantheon and yeah, so it's interesting. It's also interesting to me how they say that, just like you've grown and you've changed even in a year, it's like they're obviously, even though they're still residing in the earth, they're not the same people of, you know, the mythology that is old. But it's like you said before, like all of this stuff is real. The Greek gods are alive and don't call on them, people. Don't call on them.
Interesting. So we'll go on to maybe another type of entity that you can call on, though, from July 21st to 2024, connecting with fairies and sprites. Dearest one, we are indeed delighted to be within your loving presence. We are, and you said it's the fairies. We are one with you. We enter within your physical frame to delight and enrich your spirit with the playfulness associated with our kind. That sounds very nice, huh?
Yeah.
Today, Maureen, is a day to dance, to revel in the gifts we bestow on you. They literally want me to dance with them. I'm happy to dance with fairies. Now they're asking me to listen. We are always near. Can you hear our songs? And so you said, yes, I can hear a song. Let me pause right here. So what did the song sound like?
Brian, I so wish. So a lot of times now, especially that we have our books, I put in like, oh, this is what I saw or what I did not, I don't remember this. This is what from, a year and a half ago. I don't
Yeah.
remember it. I wish I wish I had written down what the fairy song sounded like, but sorry, Brian, I did not.
Oh,
I
no,
did.
I would be the same. I just wondered if you, okay.
Yeah,
Um,
no.
so to connect to the melodies which gladdens our hearts, you as a fairy queen have every right to access this energy to vitalize the central portion of your body. We shall do that now. Maureen, I always said you were a queen. You're a fairy queen.
Who knew?
Yeah. But so then do you want to go on to what you're thinking when they said
Yeah,
this?
so I asked them, so I said, so am I just supposed to listen to the song? By listening to the song, I connect to the fairies? And they said, by listening, you regard the signature call that we send out to humans who have forged a connection with us. And then I said, Brian, they're saying that you forged a connection too from Brian loves his backyard. Like his backyard is his sacred space. He loves spending time out there. But the fairies in his backyard are different from the fairies that I'm talking to because Brian has a pool and he has water sprites in his pool. And so then I asked, what type of fairy was I speaking with now? And they said, we are woodland creatures. For like you, we love the trees. Do you feel the sense of balance that comes in as you listen to our signature call? And I said, I most certainly do. It feels like I'm in a spa, like tiny hands are working all over me. And they said, Maureen and Brian, we ask that you implore your listeners to hear for the call of the good people, that's the name the fairies like to use for themselves, to connect with us, whether it be a water sprite in your pool or an ancient tree master. Both of these within your home can augment not only your well-being, but the well-being of all. To be in harmony with the surrounding environment is an important part of the reunification that is occurring now, bringing together all beings, most of whom were hidden long ago, to come forth and fulfill their part in revealing the dance of the Creator's mystery. That is all, dear one. Isn't that beautiful, Brian?
Yeah, so that's like that they like being called the good people,
Yeah,
which
they do not like to be called the fairies. Like the fairies is a word that we have attributed to them, and it's not a word that they identify with. It's like if I started calling you George.
Mhm. Yeah,
You'd be like, well, you can call me George, but my name is Brian. So
yeah.
they like to be called the good people.
I like that. I like that. So yeah, people reach out to the good people, connect with them, and just like we've said before, you can ask for help, and they're here to help. To and I think it's like we've mentioned in the past, connecting with nature is important, so they can help do that. So love it.
So I have a question for you. So, you always you feel that backyard energy is so important for you and so special. I'm sure it's not a surprise to realize that there's water sprites out there. I mean, did
No,
you
I didn't know.
realize that?
I was thinking because there's a lot of trees too, and I think it was, more the sort of woodland creatures. So I didn't realize because it's man-made that there was sprites in the pool. I just thought there'd be more in natural occurring bodies of water. But good to know. Good to know.
Well, I think it's probably too why, Brian has children. Well, they're grown now, but that energy of children certainly the good people would be attracted to, and children playing in a pool would certainly be an attractive energy, I would think. But I don't know.
Yeah,
That's just me, theorizing. But yeah, beautiful to know. Woodland creatures and water sprites, people.
calling them. Yes. So, and then just wrapping things up. So this closing is from June 16th to 2024. And as Thoth, Maureen and Brian, you're making quick progress on the book, which pleases us. And just a note, we have volume one of Love from Above's on Amazon Kindle and a paperback. They also then they go on. He goes on to say, "We wish to divert your attention to the podcast. We wish for the continuation of many messages imbued within the love of the one creator in alignment with the naming of your podcast. Let love be a guide for all activities. In this way, the choices you make shall be of the highest elevation." So I thought that sums up our podcast rather well and what we're looking to achieve. So anything to add, Maureen?
Well, I actually remember when we got this message in, and Brian, and this is why it's good to get the book, people, because there's a lot of juicy stuff in there. And I was going to do a podcast and some of the juicier aspects, but it's not coming from like a really high place of love. You know what I mean? And it's some of the more interesting, shall we say, aspects of our planet. And yeah, so I had to shelve the podcast that I was planning, and so that's where that was coming from. I mean, so it's a good reminder for us for all our podcasts to, be focused on love because that's what we're about, right?
Right, right. Yeah, there's right. Sometimes, not often, but yeah, sometimes we do get some messages that are juicy, but can be, I guess, construed as a little bit more negative.
But it's a truth of this planet, I
Yeah,
mean, it's the truth
yes.
of this planet. So anyway, we say no more. Get the book, look into it. You can, we've got we put the whole thing. It's not altered at all. You can discover the journey yourself. But yeah, yeah, there's some juicy tidbits in there, is all I'm gonna say.
Yep, that's for sure.
Okay, thank you all for listening. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye, everyone.